You are sitting in a meeting. Someone else is talking. They are saying almost exactly what you said 10 minutes ago. But the room is nodding now. They are leaning in. And you are sitting there wondering what just happened. You had the same idea. You had the same words. But something about how they said it landed differently. And if you are honest with yourself, this has happened before. Most people assume this is about confidence, or charisma, or some personality trait you either have or you don't. But that belief, that one right there, is exactly what has been holding you back. Here is the lie you were sold early in your career. People told you to speak up more. Be louder. Be bolder. Take up space. That advice made sense once. In a world where the most visible person got the most power. In a world where volume meant value. But the modern workplace does not work that way anymore. Research in organizational psychology shows that the most respected communicators in high-performing teams are not the loudest. They are the clearest. They are the most precise. The most intentional. The ones who make every word feel like it was chosen on purpose. You were playing by rules designed for a world that no longer exists. Think about the last time you walked away from a conversation feeling like you were not heard. Maybe it was a performance review. A pitch that got passed over. A suggestion that disappeared into the room. Or just a casual lunch where someone else seemed to hold the table effortlessly while you searched for the right thing to say. This is not a confidence problem. It is a pattern problem. And patterns can be rewired. When you speak without a clear internal structure, your brain defaults to what psychologists call reactive communication. You respond to the emotional temperature of the room. You hedge. You over-explain. You rush to fill silence. And the people listening, even without knowing why, register that as uncertainty. Not because you are uncertain, but because your words are signaling something your mind did not intend. Psychology has a name for what leaders do differently. It is called intentional verbal framing. It means every sentence you speak is shaped before it leaves your mouth. Not scripted. Not rehearsed. But structured around outcome, clarity, and presence. Think of it this way. Most people speak like someone walking through fog. One step at a time. Hoping they arrive somewhere meaningful. Intentional communicators speak like someone who already knows the destination. They are not searching while they talk. They have already arrived, and they are inviting you to follow. Here is a story that puts this in context. Marcus was 38 years old. Senior analyst at a mid-sized consulting firm in Chicago. Smart. Thorough. Never wrong. But every promotion cycle, someone else moved ahead. In one feedback session, his manager said something that stuck. She said, "Your ideas are excellent. But people cannot follow you into them." He spent 6 months studying how his most respected colleagues communicated. Not what they said, but how they opened every idea. How they paused before answering. How they named the outcome before explaining the method. 12 months later, Marcus was leading a team of 9. Nothing about his intelligence changed. His words did. That is it. Now here are the 5 communication shifts that created the change. Step 1: lead with the outcome, not the explanation. Most people explain their reasoning first and hope the listener finds the point at the end. Leaders do the opposite. They name the destination in the first sentence. Your brain processes meaning faster when the conclusion comes first. This is called top-down processing in cognitive psychology. Instead of "I was thinking we could look at the data and see if maybe there is a pattern to try," there is one shift that would increase conversion by 20%. Here is what I found. Same information. Completely different authority signal. Step 2. Use deliberate pauses as power, not as weakness. Silence feels uncomfortable. So most people fill it with sounds that drain their credibility. Like, sort of. Neuroscience research shows that pausing before answering activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain associated with deliberate thinking. When you pause, people perceive you as thoughtful, not slow. Try it in your next meeting. Someone asks a question. Count 2 full seconds before you speak. The room will lean in. Every time. Step 3. Drop the hedging language. Phrases like "I am not sure but," or "this might be wrong," or "just my opinion" exist to protect you from judgment. But they signal uncertainty to every person in the room. This is called linguistic self-undermining, a pattern studied in workplace communication research. You do not have to be arrogant. You have to be direct. Not, "I think we might want to consider possibly exploring this option." Just, "This is worth exploring. Here is why." Clean. Clear. Respected. Step 4. Mirror the energy of the room, then lead it higher. High-influence communicators do not walk into a room and ignore the emotional temperature. They match it first and then gently pull it in the direction they want. This is social calibration rooted in emotional intelligence research by Daniel Goleman. If the room is tense, acknowledge it briefly before pivoting. If energy is low, do not bulldoze with enthusiasm. Meet them where they are. Then move. Step 5. End with a closed loop, not an open question. Most people end their contributions with, "Does that make sense?" Or, "What do you think?" These are nervous closes. They hand power back to the room. Instead, close with a statement that assumes forward movement. Try, "I will send the outline by Thursday. Let me know if anything needs adjusting." You are not demanding. You are deciding. That distinction is everything. Now bring this back to the mental model. Remember the fog and the destination. Most of your communication struggles were never about what you knew. They were about the gap between what you understood internally and how clearly you invited others into that understanding. Intentional verbal framing is not a performance. It is not a mask. It is the skill of translating your thinking into language that lands with precision. And the more you practice these 5 shifts, the more natural they become. You were not born a poor communicator. You were just never taught how to speak with architecture. Now you know what that looks like. The next time you are in that meeting, and someone takes your idea and says it better, you will know exactly what they did. And more importantly, you will know how to do it yourself. If something in this resonated, drop a word in the comments. Even one word. It tells me what you are working through, and it helps me make the next video for you. That is what this is for.